Hello, 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 and welcome to Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk with me, Andy Kutzinger, and him,
Hunter Moeller.
And we're in the same area today, coming at you from one of our three offices, not to brag. This one in Mount Pleasant. We are powered by Fairway, as always, and we're here to bring you a little bit of winter sports. What do you think about that, Hunter?
Loving it. We're getting down to crunch time.
Postseason play, and it's going to be a little different because we're going to be sharing the same computer.
Yeah.
So, bear with us. If we have any, like bonk heads both looking into the center of the computer at the same time. Speaking of getting into postseason play, though, Hunter, we're just going to jump right into the sports today. Usually, we chat about get in trouble for how long our show goes. No funny business. No funny business today. Maybe celebrity birthdays if we're doing good.
There we go.
Later on at the end. I, Hunter, was at the second sanctioned ever Iowa High School Girls Athletic Union state tournament. In Xtreme Arena, spelled Xtream, not the way I tried to spell it yesterday. Luckily, we have a spell checker that makes sure I didn't screw everything up. And we had a state champion. First weekend of winter postseason sports, we already got a state champion. We were on an utter back of Sigourney Kyoto, who has been dominating all year. Came into the girls' state tournament undefeated, and guess what?
Great picture.
Thank you. That's actually a Gazette picture that you're looking at, but I've got a picture of her right here.
Looks just as good.
Yeah, looks just as good quality-wise. Got a couple of pictures of her. Spoiler, if you want to see what me and Hunter are looking at, I'm looking at the story right now. She basically dominated. I mean, I can't say it any other way. 5 matches, all pins. She came in the 3 seed, there were 3 undefeated girls. And so I don't know, not everybody wrestles everybody. So I don't, obviously she's like nationally ranked, I think 15th. So, you would have thought she'd been the number 1 seed. The Gazette asked her, KJ at the Gazette asked her if that was she had a chip on her shoulder. And I think she said something like, nah, just kind of whatever. But she rolled through. She went against the second ranked girl in the semifinals, Ellie Wietz of Vinton Schellsburg. And that was only a minute 10. She went less than a minute, 1:30, 1:10. Those are her pin times on her first 4 matches. The 5th match, the championship match on Friday night, did last a little bit longer. Well, no, it lasted longer, actually. But she had a big lead throughout. She went against Sylvia Garcia Vasquez of West Liberty, who had a great run. She was 9th seeded. She knocked off the number 1 seed. You can kind of tell that the seeds aren't totally... They're not... It's not as chalky as the boys' state wrestling. But she was up 2-0 after the first period, 10-0 after the second, so she had full control. But she still ended up with a pin in just over 5 minutes. So a minute left of wrestling. And so in that match, actually, she wrestled more in the championship match than all the other matches combined. So state champion, 49-0, undefeated. Technically her second state. She won a non-sanctioned girls state championship. Of course, if you've been watching the show / reading the newspaper, she wrestled with the boys last year, the first year of sanctioning.
8th
place last year. So there we go. That's a 115 state title for Rana Utterback. And it was a fun event. We did not only have 1 state placer. In fact, we had 2 semifinalists. Asia Cox of Cardinal saw her dominate a couple of matches early in this thing. She ends up 6th. She made it all the way to the semifinals before she lost to the eventual champion. So she went 3-0 up to the semifinals, fell in the semifinals, and then dropped a couple in the consolation bracket / the 5th place game. So she ended up 3-3 in that one. Cardinal had 2 girls there, Abigail Derflinger 102. By the way, Cox 155, Derflinger 105. Columbus WMU had a couple. Josie Nelson went 1-2. She had a pin there for her first win in the Wrestlebacks. Lisette Quarles went 0-2. And Fairfield, Samantha Lyons picked up 3 wins. I saw one of those wins bright and early on Thursday morning. She went 3-2. She just missed out on the placing, which is only top 8. Highlands Angelina Rolling went 1-2. Won her first Wrestleback. I believe we have I'm gonna check and make sure we have a picture of her getting that win in the Wrestleback. Mid Prairie had 2-2 girls and a 1-2. Ashley Ferrier and Ellie Brenneman went 2-2, and Ellie Callahan finished 1-2. Pekin's Haley Pitter 0-2, and Waco's Riley Rice went 0-2. So 12 up there is fun. I like the girls' state wrestling, especially because it's in Coralville. I'm a little bit worried about the future of Coralville because last year I showed up and there was a line like that was looked like miles long. I didn't have to be in line. Maybe I walked directly past the line. And then this year is the exact same thing. Both years it has been a total sellout. In fact, this year they had to make an announcement to get all the wrestlers out of the stands because they were like sitting with their parents. They're like, you can't even do that because we don't have enough seats. So,
Oh my.
yeah, I mean, it was packed, but I love it in Iowa City. It's so close.
Yeah, it's so
So
close
close.
and got something to eat and
Yep, grab something to eat.
being close is
Fun time.
probably the
It is. It's kind of a cool little area. Like it's like a tunnel system to get everywhere. So
Mhm.
anyway, it was fun. Yeah, that's all I got from the girls' state wrestling. Girls wrestling over, boys wrestling districts are this weekend.
Yeah.
We got some basketball, Hunter. You were in
I was in
Town.
I was in W Town, Washington, last Friday night for another Southeast Conference matchup. This time the Demons taking on Fort Madison. Obviously on the girls' side, Fort Madison, number 2 team in the in the division, and then on the boys' side, Fort Madison probably could almost say one of the hottest teams in the conference right now. Obviously,
Mhm.
lost down Mount Pleasant, haven't lost since,
Yep.
I believe. But
No, they lost on Wednesday. They lost on Wednesday.
yeah.
Talk more about that.
But the on the girls' side, tough one for Washington. Obviously, they're out with top scorer Adeline Long. You said she had done for the season last week, I think.
Yep.
So tough loss for them, but really 2 quarters kind of made the difference in this one. They ended up falling 48-28 to the Bloodhounds. Really early on, it was the first and fourth quarter that kind of made the difference. It was a pretty competitive game between the second and third. But Washington found itself down 10-2 pretty much over the first 5.5 minutes of the game. Taylor Bartholomew scored just the Demons' second field goal at the 1:19 mark in that first quarter. So kind of just as I mentioned, the rough start, and then after one, Fort Madison led 13-4. But then the next 2 quarters, really, as I mentioned, it was just kind of that first quarter scoring because really it was pretty even over the next 2 frames, but they just couldn't kind of get within that 5 to 3 point mark. They did come to single digits late in the second quarter before the half. Kendall Hendrickson hit a 3 with 40 seconds left to cut it to 9, 23-14. But the Bloodhounds ended up leading at the half 24-14. Continued to battle through the third. Really early on in the third, the Demons cut it to 24-18. Bartholomew hit a 3. But then after that, the scoring struggles kind of came back. What followed was Fort Madison's large lead of the game. They ended up taking a 32-18 lead. Once again, Washington kind of battling back into it, cut it to 9 again, 33-24. But then in the fourth quarter, Fort Madison kind of pulled away, kind of reminiscent of that first quarter there. So they ended up scoring just let's see here, where's that at? Just 4 points in the fourth quarter to Fort Madison's 15. So as I mentioned, they just pulled away into it. So if it would have been, like the other quarter, the second or third, they would continue that streak. It would have been, 9-10 point game. So plenty of positives, I think, if you're looking, from Washington's perspective. Obviously, you're down out of the Long, who's kind of been your go-to scorer, but a lot of girls are stepping up for them. So I think they have a really bright future too. And then just to mention, they traveled up to Clear Creek Amana on a Saturday, and obviously Clear Creek Amana, number 1 team in Class 4.
Very good.
Pretty much the favorite to win the state title at this point. Lost that one 80-17. So tough loss in them. They dropped to 8-11 with the pair of losses, then 5-4 with that loss to Fort Madison Southeast Conference play. On the boys' side, the last time these 2 teams meet, Washington, spoiled a homestand at Fort Madison, 73-63. This time, it's the Bloodhounds that spoil Demons. Are going to Washington and kind of spoil their night. 58-51. really competitive game through all the 4 quarters. The Washington was never outscored by more than 3 in a quarter. So, I mean, 50-51 kind of says that. So, really, they just couldn't gain an edge in the quarter, to pull out the win. Fort Madison came out of the gate kind of on fire, jumped out to an 11-3 lead through the first 4 minutes. Washington ended up battling back kind of the rest of the way, put together a couple 6-2 runs. It ended up being 16-16 by the end of the first. Drew Conrad hit a 3 right out of the gate in the next quarter to give Washington a 19-16 lead, but Fort Madison followed with an 8-0 run to make it 24-19. And then Washington hit just 3 more shots for the rest of the first half. Good news for them, all from deep. And the final one from Seth Shepard put Washington up 28-27. However, that would be Washington's final lead of the game. Fort Madison closed with 4 straight points to make it 31-28 at the break. And then through the third, kind of both teams struggled to score early on. Washington outscored Fort Madison 4-2 through the first 5 minutes, which cut the lead to just 1. But then Washington scored just 4 more points the rest of that quarter, and Fort Madison closed with none of its own to make it 42-36 heading into the fourth. And then 3 ball, once again, Washington was able to knock the game at 47s after kind of jumping out to an 11-5 run early in that, or pretty much at the early point of the fourth quarter, midway through that frame. And then Demons hit 3 more triples through that span, or hit 3 threes during that span. 2 from Logan McDowell, and then the tying 3 from Conrad once again. But Fort Madison had an answer of their own. They ended up dropping an 11, basically did the final whistle, and Washington scored just 4 points to the end of the game. So a tough loss for them there. Logan McDowell with 11 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds. Drew Conrad and Roman Roth both had 10. Cale Williams 8, Nick Stone 5, Rajon Roth 4, and Seth Shepard 3. And then much like the girls, Washington Demons, the boys went up to Clear Creek Amana. Fell on that one 87-70. McDowell led them in that one with 24 points. And with the pair of losses, Washington now sits at 6-11 and 4-5 in Southeast Conference play. So kind of a tough little stretch there. Obviously, the Southeast Conference losses, and then playing a tough Clear Creek Amana team on both sides. But the great thing about Washington, I think that we've seen this season, is pretty much on both sides. Pretty much the whole starting 5 is going to return next year. Like, obviously, their placement's already set in stone, where we have Mount Pleasant and Keokuk kind of in a fight right now. Well, with 1 game to go, in Fort Madison for a fight with the top seed. Kind of on both sides, really. I mean, Keokuk's kind of won the girls already, but yeah. So I mean, long story short, plenty to do. Look forward to for Washington.
So I think Washington's locked into 4th place in both now. Definitely boys. By the way, I have a little beef with Clear Creek Amana girls basketball because they hosted one of our teams a few years in the tournament, and it was popcorn only in the concession stands. No food. It's like your home postseason game. You can't do that.
I had a great hot dog last night. Yeah, Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, they got some good hot dogs this year. They are solid. Ashton Kutcher buy that place an indoor, like a George Foreman grill or something.
You should.
You should. I was in Keokuk, and there were some conference championship implications on the line. First in the girls, Keokuk just needed 1 win over Mount Pleasant to clinch the girls' title. It was a pretty tough time around. The first time it was in Keokuk, so it was a monster hill for the Panthers to climb. And unfortunately, it was all Keokuk, 83-13. Chiefs controlled from the opening tip. And not much to say about that. Abby Carthy and Haley Parrott with 4 points apiece. Maya Starr with 3. And Peyton Insminger with 2 points there. So Mount Pleasant had eight points in the first quarter. And from then on, just couldn't score. Pressure. Defense from Keokuk is electric. And they are your Southeast Conference champions for 2023 and 2024. And on the boys' side, Mount Pleasant actually came into this one with a chance to win the conference championship outright. Coming into on Friday night, Mount Pleasant was up on Keokuk by 1 game, and Fort Madison was back 2 games, and everybody has 2 games to go. So you already heard from Hunter what happened with Fort Madison and Washington. So the Bloodhounds needed Keokuk to understand it. Keokuk needed to understand it. And after falling to the Panthers earlier this year, Keokuk 57-38, the worst loss for Mount Pleasant thus far this season, a rare loss for the Mount Pleasant boys. And they have now dropped both Lee County road games in SEC play. I lost to Fort Madison, now I've lost to Keokuk. It was 19-3 Chiefs after the first quarter. All Keokuk in the first 8 minutes. Mount Pleasant had cut it down to one possession. Christian Stacy had a nice night shooting the ball, but everybody else pretty much shot poorly. And Stacy ends up with 18, Peyton Higgins with 10, Nate Stroud 4 points and 10 rebounds, but not a lot going on there.
While you're going to Mount Pleasant, I'll just mention my games from last night.
Mhm.
Mount Pleasant, the Panthers boys were in Ottumwa. The girls were hosting Ottumwa, obviously. Mount Pleasant girls, the game I was at here in Mount Pleasant, and Ottumwa rated number 15 in Class 4A. Real fantastic showing from the Panthers early on, down to the Bulldogs 11-10 after one quarter.
Nice job.
The bad news is they were held scoreless in the second, outscored 18-0 in the second quarter, and then held to just 2 points in the third and then 5 in the fourth. So after that, keeping it to a 1 point game in the first, they scored just 7 points the rest of the game. So they ended up losing that one 50-17.
Boys were on,
and then the boys were on the road, picked up a huge win, kind of got some mojo back after a tough road.
I'd say so.
Tom was a pretty good team. Them and Washington, I know, played a really tight game early, a couple weeks ago. Mount Pleasant picks up a 53-43 win over there in Ottumwa. So, good win for them to kind of, get back on track after maybe a couple rough games, maybe.
Yeah, against better teams, a couple of rough games. So, you go Fairfield games real quick, and then we'll do it. Yeah, we'll update the standings here.
You want to?
Oh yeah, we got it right here. Because Fairfield had a couple of games against Burlingtown, the last team on the A.
Yeah, so Fairfield was our other team in action on Friday night, taking on Burlington. The girls fell in this one 56-48, and then the boys 75-60. Really it was a pretty good game. Really good game in that girls contest. Burlington led Fairfield by just 2, 16-14 after the first quarter. At the half, it was tied 26-26. Burlington kind of gained the edge in the second half. Went on outscored the Trojans 16-10 in the third, and then to start the fourth, Burlington took the final quarter 14-12 to kind of pull away a little bit in that one, winning by 8 there. And then so with that, it's a real nice game for Savannah Hollander, 27 points, 9 rebounds. So
27,
one of her better stat lines I think I've seen this season.
Mm-hmm.
So Fairfield drops to 2-16 overall and 0-11 in Southeast Conference play. And then go down a little bit now.
Oh yes.
And then the boys contest, just a tough night for them. Never led in this one. They were down just 6 after the first, 16-10. Kept it tight in the second. It was close in scoring, but it was 19-18 in scoring in that second quarter. But Burlington led 35-28 at the half. And from then on out, the Greyhounds only extended the lead. Took the third 17-15 and the fourth 23-17 to kind of close it out. And then Fairfield kind of another loss in Southeast Conference play.
75-60 is the final on that.
I don't have I have their record here.
Oh yeah.
So Fairfield drops to 1-16 on the season and 0-8 in Southeast Conference play. So yeah.
There we go. So quick update on the standings before we go to commercial. Keokuk SEC champions, they've locked it in. Fort Madison's locked in with 2. That's in girls. In boys, it'll
Comes
be
down to the final night.
Friday night. So if Mount Pleasant can beat Fairfield at Fairfield, they will win at least a share. They'll clinch that part of the conference championship. So a big game for Mount Pleasant, also a big game for Fairfield with the chance to spoil there.
Yeah.
And then Keokuk will be in Fort Madison. And Fort Madison can still win the boys conference championship as well. They could split with the 2 as long as Mount Pleasant lost and they won on Friday, which means there's 3 teams still in it.
That's going to be a great game.
Yes.
A lot at stake for both sides.
In the Hound Dome, one of the toughest places to play.
Yeah.
And they just played a pretty close one on Wednesday that Keokuk won. That's Keokuk at Fort Madison. So there's a chance it's a 3-8 tie. There's a chance still that Mount Pleasant would come out and be the lone champion. And there's a chance that Keokuk would come out and be the lone champion. So right down to the last night, which is good. And we got a lot more basketball to talk about, but first, why don't you guys take a stroll down memory lane with our sponsors here. We back by popular demand is our commercial breaks. All the best local companies in Southeast Iowa that love local sports enough to sponsor the show. So we will be back in a couple minutes with some Southeast Iowa Super Conference shootout results.
Yes, sir.
Federation Bank is a locally owned bank providing award-winning customer service. We believe that we are more than just a federation of banks, but a federation of communities, serving Brighton, Richland, Wellman, and Washington, Iowa. Federation Bank's highly skilled staff is here to make sure you are able to accomplish your personal and professional goals, whatever they may be. Federation Bank, your family bank.
Hospice isn't a place, it's a type of care that focuses on living. Servicing a 7-county area, the Hospice of Washington County staff of nurses, social work, hospice aides, spiritual and grief support, volunteers, music and massage therapists are able to provide free end-of-life care where the patient lives. We write wills, give consent for organ donation, but rarely is there a plan for what we would want the final phase of our lives. At Hospice of Washington County, we encourage our patients to be in charge of their healthcare decisions while maintaining quality of life.
Tammy takes the time and has the personal interest in each one of us. I don't worry about what's going to happen because I know my policy is taken care of.
She pulls what I need and puts it together, which is the program I get from her.
Every year she calls around September or so and says, there's changes again, and I'm going to do the best thing for you. It's been perfect. She does a great job.
At the Capper Auto Group, we put our customers' needs first and understand that everyone is as different as the vehicle they select. We offer new Ford, Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge, and Ram vehicles in a friendly environment that puts you in the driver's seat. When it comes to service, we maintain factory-trained technicians and competitive pricing. The Capper Auto Group still believes that service after the sale provides the best customer experience. Come see the Capper experience for yourself.
I am Melissa Westfall with Homegirl Realty. Heather and Charlotte and I have worked together for many years, and we have always had a vision to have a business together.
I'm Charlotte Howard, and the good news is we bring a very high level of experience. We have a combined 80 plus years of experience in this real estate marketplace.
I'm Heather Merrick, and Homegirl Realty brings a lot of things to the table. We have phenomenal communication with our clients, buyers and sellers, to make sure things are going smoothly and you don't have anything to worry about.
Hello, friends. We are back on Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk live, and we're gonna run through the weekend in small school basketball. I'm gonna do the girls real quick. I was at our only Southeast Iowa Super Conference Final Four deal game. They have the first place teams and the second place teams play at SCC on all on the same day on Saturday. There were two girls teams, two girls games, two boys games. We only had one on the girls side make it. That was the Columbus girls who actually made it for the first time. It was the very first time that a Columbus team for boys or girls made it to the top four there. So a big night for the Columbus girls. Unfortunately, they're playing Danville, who is a wagon with the full court press and the speed. And that's
telling you about them, and I was like,
yeah, it is a lot like, I mean, Columbus this year has been a team that has been able to run up and down, and they got some speedsters, but it's Danville's a whole different game. And they stuck with them a little bit early, got a couple of 3-pointers off, but Danville led 22-10 after one quarter, 43-13 at halftime, 56-13 at halftime, and Danville over Columbus 60-18. It was a South Division sweep at SCC, starting with the whole night, spoiler alert, but starting with that one. Araceli Garza and Isabella Rendon went for 5 points apiece for Columbus, and Madeline Howell went for 3. So a tough one. But obviously, not only is Columbus also dealing with a huge injury with Lily Coyle lately, but they've risen from being one of the bottom teams in this thing to now being the number 2 team in the North. So huge jump for those guys. But Danville's that's a tough draw. It was going to be a tough draw no matter who had the top for the North. The South Division girls teams are very, very good. And then other girls games on the night. Iowa City Regina and Mid Prairie played. Iowa City Regina 57, Mid Prairie 39. We also had Keota and Cardinal, a couple of Union area teams in different conferences. They went at it, and it was a classic battle. 33-32, Keota beats Cardinal in that one. We didn't have full stats yesterday, so I'm just trying to click it here to make sure we have we get a couple scores from this one. I can tell you the Cardinal was up at halftime. Keota came back up 14-8 third quarter. And yes, we've got Grace Conger for Keota had 11 points and 6 rebounds. Kimberly Clarahan with 10 points, and Emily Conger with 8. That's, by the way, that's junior freshman. Keota girls, a very young and up and coming team. Cardinals Emma Becker went for 13 points and 9 rebounds. Colby Sander went for 9, and Ashlyn Patrick went for 8. So there we go. Keota over Cardinal. And then in the Super Conference shootout, we had Waco representing the North Division falls to Notre Dame 72-59. Pekin representing the North Division falls to Central Lee 52-43. Van Buren County representing the South Division falls in overtime 58-55. Ivy Davidson had a huge game in that, by the way. 14 points, 8 rebounds, 4 steals, 2 blocked shots. Marley Mertens with 14 there. And then they played Davis County the following day, lost 65-44. Other Super Conference shootout game, we had Hillcrest Academy and New London in a Union area clash. Check out the stats on this one, Hunter. So it's 60-39 Hillcrest Academy. Malia Yoder 28 points, and Claire Witherow scored 12, which means that's combined for 40 points from your top two. And Neva Helmuth went 8 points, 16 rebounds, 5 steals. So huge performance out of those 3 players right there. And then Sophie Malott with 16 for New London. Miley Miller goes 14-9, flirted with the double-double there. A couple of almost double-doubles in that roundup. And on the boys basketball side, Hunter, we had all sorts of games Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yeah, so I'll just run through these and kind of point out, obviously, I was at the Southeast Conference shootout with Waco and Holy Trinity and Winfield taking on West Burlington, which those were some great games. But on Thursday, we had Cardinal picking up its first win of the season, 56-41 over Melcher Dallas. Waco picking up a 70-64 win over Moravia. That one went to OT. Yep. And then Mid Prairie 66-61 over Williamsburg. Williamsburg, previously ranked team. So I mentioned Annie Mid Prairie's been playing pretty good ball late.
Team of the night.
Yep. So big win for the Golden Hawks there. Columbus 56-50 over Highland. Davis County 64-42 over New London. And on Friday, this is when the Southeast Iowa Super Conference games kind of kicked off. First off, we got Keota, who's I think the rankings shifted up a little bit. I think Keota's number 7.
Are they?
Or they might have jumped up. I can't remember. I remember looking at it. I think Winfield's number 5 now.
And
but
either way, they're a 1 seed in the sub-states. Those are out on Iowa High School.
If you want to see the brackets, we'll probably put something online.
Yes.
But number 6, Keota, still 19-0, undefeated, 83-40 over Cardinal. Actually, I think Keota might have cracked the top 10, but I can't remember. Maybe that was something else. But anyway, New London 57-46 over Columbus. Mid Prairie wins again against a really good Regina Catholic team. Regina Catholic was playing really well. I know early on in the season, I think they might have been ranked at 1.2 almost. But 60-53 in that one. Van Buren County 67-65 over Lone Tree. Obviously, the New London Columbus one was a Super Conference game between the North and South, and then Van Buren County taking on Lone Tree as well. Hillcrest Academy and Central Lee going at it. Hillcrest Academy 54-40 over Central Lee. And then I just threw in the Burlington 75-60 over Fairfield, and then we have Notre Dame 54-25 over Pekin and their North and South battle of the SEIC or SE. And then Saturday, I think the Clear Creek Amana, we got Davis County 67-52 over Van Buren County. And then the 2 games I was at, obviously, first game of the night at Southeastern Community College was Holy Trinity taking on Waco. First time these 2 teams met, I believe, was a 9-point win for Holy Trinity. It did not disappoint this time. But Holy Trinity Catholic wins at 54-53. HTC's Connor Galing hit a layup with 2 seconds left to give the Crusaders a 2-point lead. The clock kept running, and Waco really, they just couldn't advance the ball far enough to get, a good look at the full court heave. Waco did hold a 6-point lead with about 3.5 minutes to go in this one. But Holy Trinity ended on, I got to do the math, a 7-0 run. I think it ended up being.
Quick math.
I think it was a 7-0 run to the end of the game. Ended the game on a 7-0 run to win that one, including Galen's game-winning layup in that one. So tough loss for Waco, but they were without Hunter Hughes in this one. Their leading, senior guard, leading scorer for them. So great effort by them. Really,
Pretty impressive result.
Yeah,
they improved 6 points without Hunter Hughes.
And they really, they kind of pounded it down low. Colton Lichty and Chase Waterhouse really did some work. Had some guys step up, like Isaac Egley, and then he's just a freshman, played well as well. So despite the loss, great showing to Waco. I think this is the kind of game you want when you're this close to the postseason.
Definitely,
And
they're the most dangerous District 3 seed in the Southern 1A, in my opinion.
Yep. And then the kind of the biggest game of the night, I guess you would say, is because for the the conference title. We got number 10, Class 2A West Burlington. I think they jumped up the rankings after this too. And then taking on number 4, Class 1A Winfield Mount Union. West Burlington wins this one 45-38. Pretty much it was I don't know if it's what I expected. I expected both offenses kind of struggled in this. It was a really defensive battle. And we said going in, it was like, how can Winfield defend West Burlington's guards? And then obviously, Winfield's got the big men down low. What I expected was what I saw. West Burlington really sunk into the paint and kind of, limited their opportunities at the rim. Long story short, Winfield just kind of struggled to shoot, and that's really something, head coach Clay Edwards set up for the game. They shot 3 for 23 from 3 in the game, and all 1 3 came in the first quarter and then 2 in the second quarter in that one. They ended up shooting like 32% from the field in the game. I think West Burlington shot 36% from the field, but went 10 for 15 from the free throw line. And then Winfield shot something like 3 for 10 from the free throw line. West Burlington didn't shot like 8% from 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
But, it came down to kind of the free throws and just that edge in the field goal percentage. So, 45-38, really, if you're looking at it and you look at the way they shot and, really Winfield shoots better. This is a 3-point game, it's, pretty close. So, I think it was just a great defensive effort for both teams, and then just West Burlington kind of had that just edge in the shooting column. Winfield had it to 1 early in the second quarter, and then 1 once again straight off the gate in the third. But just couldn't get the shots to fall enough to kind of get back into it. And West Burlington's Mason Watkins hit some kind of crazy shots down the stretch.
They have some shooters. Well, when it comes down to it, that's also they're technically in West Burlington, even though they're not at West Burlington. It's almost a road game.
It was definitely
yeah.
Their side was just completely.
Oh, I bet it was a crazy.
It's always shout out to Southeast Community College for always hosting it, because it's always a great. It's like almost like it's almost like a college level atmosphere, like when it's because you got like almost the whole town's like a VT.
Yep.
All the fans from both sides just. It's kind of awesome.
Yeah, it's always been like that. Even when they used to host it at Iowa Wesleyan, they went to SCC, then Iowa Wesleyan, now back to SCC. And another thing is, I love that they do the other games on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
That way, everybody else can come out and see the big games.
I like that. And you always see that too. I always see people from other schools there. So I always think that's cool. And it's like I mentioned, it's like a great atmosphere. So
it's a good postseason event. And I think it
feels like postseason.
Yeah, I know that the Winfield girls lost in this last year, and that helped. It seemed to help them when it got to postseason time. They got in those crunch time games. So.
Yeah, so with that result, West Burlington is back-to-back Southeast Conference or Southeast Iowa Super Conference champions. So they beat Waco last year, and
there we go. That's it for the small school basketball districts regionals. All that stuff will be starting here late this week, actually. And early next week is when it really gets kicked off. So there's your postseason basketball coming up. We're going to talk a little bit of just a little bit of bowling when we get back from commercials. So enjoy these ads, commercials. Enjoy them all. We'll be back.
At 5 Star Community Credit Union, we want to help you lead a better life. We offer competitive rates and convenient appointment times for all kinds of loans: auto, recreational vehicles, home equity, line of credit, holiday, and personal loans. We make it easy to build your credit and enjoy the good things in life.
We invite you to join 5 Star Community Credit Union. We are community-minded and member-focused. Come visit our locations in West Burlington and Mount Pleasant or online at 5starcu.org. Federally insured through the NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome back, Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk Live. A quick announcement, a couple quick announcements. Tomorrow at noon in Burlington, actually let me look up the actual lanes because there's a bunch of bowling lanes in Burlington. And it's not at Fun City. The Southeast Conference bowling tournament will be taking place. That means that all our teams will be there. Fairfield, Washington, and Mount Pleasant. Kingpins Bowling. Oh, it's Kingpin Bowling Center at Fun
I
City.
think that's the Fun City.
I'm gonna look it up for our people. For our people, I'm looking this up.
I'm almost positive.
Why don't they call it Fun City Bowl?
But I'm almost positive it's the Fun City.
I love that one, if that's what it is.
Yep.
Yep, Fun City. Go to Fun City, guys. Guys that need to call 1-800 bets off like myself. Do not go into the casino. Walk past the casino and get to the bowling alley.
Sports book.
Don't go into the sports book. There's not even gonna be any games going on tomorrow at noon. Although it is a few days before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But you need to walk right past into the bowling alley and check out some area bowling. See if we can get a conference champion over there. We also wanted to shout out Mr. Mark Cherry, former New London wrestling head coach, on not this Saturday, but next Saturday at the state finals for wrestling. He will be inducted into the Hall of Fame after only 1 year being off of wrestling. Yep,
Biology.
that's right. I chatted with him yesterday. We'll have a story on that this Thursday, and then next week's Winfield or New London Journal. By the way, he asked me about you, Hunter, and he complained that you went overseas instead of playing your senior year of baseball.
Oh, yeah.
They bailed on him.
I don't think he was even. Yeah, he might have been a coach.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know the coach.
Anyway, so we'll have that, and then
He still remembers that. That's crazy.
he still remembers that.
That's still in the back of his mind.
Yes, he's got. It was a nice long chat with Coach Cherry. Also, I would like to say that we will, and Alex, you can confirm on this. There's no show anymore on Thursday because we're going to have our new news show coming out, which has a little sports in it. So we're going back to one time a week. Yes, and then so celebrity birthdays: TikTok star Joe Bartosoli. And then happy birthday to people who actually know. This must be a big birthday. Rick Astley, very famous. Bob Marley, very famous. Babe Ruth and Ronald Reagan. Rest in peace for those last three.
Rest in peace to Toby Keith, dude.
What?
Toby Keith died today.
Today?
Yep.
Oh, breaking news on Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk. apparently Toby Keith died. That's very sad. Did he? Yeah, he did. Wow, that's very sad.
He's got some great songs.
Man, wow, we're really ending this on a sad. All right, everyone go mourn for a little bit because I didn't know that. My wife's gonna be pretty upset. She's more of a country fan than me. So, and yeah, we will see you